Hey everyone, Nora here, and welcome back to Dark Justice.
Of Betty Bowman, a pharmacist who died in Rochester in August. Police have now arrested her husband, a former Mayo Clinic doctor, a resident in her murder. He's accused of poisoning her.
She was a pharmacist who saved lives every day, but the man she trusted most was learning how to take one. This is the story of Betty Joe Bowman, a woman whose light could fill a room, and Connor Bowman, the husband who turned that light into darkness. It's a story that began with love and ended in poison. From the outside, their life looked perfect. Betty was everything you'd hope a person could be: bright, kind, and deeply compassionate. Born on December 13, 1990, in Wichita, Kansas, she was raised by loving parents, Nancy and David Sponsel. Even as a child, she stood out. She radiated warmth, the kind of quiet kindness that drew people in. At Bishop Carroll Catholic High School, everyone knew Betty, not as the loud one, not as the popular one, but as the one who made everyone feel seen. Her teachers said she had a gift for empathy. Her friends said she was sunshine in human form. Betty's dream was to help people. That dream took her to the University of Kansas School of Pharmacy, where she earned her doctorate in 2017. She wasn't chasing status or money, she wanted to heal. Her colleagues remembered her brilliance and humility. Dr. Jason Herold said she was sharp, reliable, hard-working, and just a genuinely good person. Eric Muller said she brought positivity into every situation. Even on the hardest days, Betty found something to smile about. Outside of work, she was full of life. She loved traveling to Hawaii, Iceland, and Yosemite. She adored her corgi, Sir Crumpet II of Malbury. She stood for equality and kindness, especially LGBTQ+ rights. To everyone around her, Betty was unstoppable. Then she met Connor Fitzgerald Bowman. He was intelligent, confident, and ambitious, a medical student on his way to becoming an internal medicine doctor at Mayo Clinic. They seemed perfect together, a medical power couple. Two bright minds building a future side by side. They married on May 30th, 2021, in Independence, Missouri. To family and friends, they were inseparable. But behind the smiles, cracks were already forming. Connor carried heavy medical school debt. He insisted they keep separate bank accounts. And while Betty's career soared, Connor's pride began to fracture. His charm faded into control. His ambition turned into resentment. By the summer of 2023, the marriage was falling apart. There were arguments, accusations, and whispers of infidelity. The life they had built together was crumbling. But what no one realized, not her friends, not her family, was that Connor had already started planning the unthinkable. While Betty was saving lives at the hospital, Connor was at home, searching how to take one. The poison plan. While Betty spent her days helping patients, Connor spent his nights searching for ways to kill her. His computer became a diary of evil. Every click, every question, a step closer to murder. He began by asking how to erase his browsing history. Then he searched, can browser history be used in court? Next came a delivery tracking page. He was preparing to order death online. Connor knew exactly what he was doing. As a poison control specialist, he understood how the human body reacted to toxins. He knew which substances killed quietly and which ones mimicked natural illness. He was designing the perfect, undetectable murder. On August 5th, 2023, while Betty was at work, Connor made his first move. He researched poisons, lethal dosages, and the symptoms they caused. Then, he calculated Betty's weight, 120 pounds, and converted it to kilograms. He was determining how much poison it would take to end her life. 5 days later, he made his first attempt. Connor prepared a smoothie for Betty, something he never did. She took one sip and frowned. It tasted wrong, bitter, off. She even joked to a friend, maybe Connor's trying to poison me. No one thought much of it. Betty always found humor in the strange moments, but Connor wasn't joking. That same day, his computer showed new searches: liquid colchicine, sodium nitrate, lethal dosage charts. Colchicine was used to treat gout, but in higher doses, it was deadly. It caused vomiting, dehydration, and organ failure. To anyone unfamiliar with poison, it looked like severe food poisoning. Connor placed an online order for the drug, $52.20, using his Mayo Clinic email. He wasn't hiding his trail. He was arrogant enough to believe no one would ever trace it. But Connor's plans went beyond buying poison. He was already preparing his new identity, life without Betty. 2 days before she would die, he searched, is widower gender neutral? He wanted to know how to describe himself to new women. On Bumble, he listed himself as a widower. He was already flirting with strangers, describing himself as heartbroken, even though his wife was still alive. In his mind, Betty was already gone. His search history told investigators everything. He looked up the toxicity of oil of wintergreen, sodium nitrate, and methods to delete browsing data. He studied fatal dosages. He analyzed body weight calculations. He wasn't guessing, he was engineering murder. August 15th, 2023. Betty came home from another long shift at the hospital. She planned to meet her friends that night, but Connor had something else in mind. He offered to make her a drink. Rum for her, whiskey for him. It was strange. He never mixed drinks, never played the charming husband. But for Betty, who believed in giving people second chances, it felt like maybe he was trying to reconnect. She texted her friends. She said she was staying in, that Connor had surprised her with drinks. No one knew she was holding a glass of poison. The colchicine he bought was tasteless, odorless. Hidden in the alcohol, it left no trace. Betty couldn't have known that every sip was killing her. At 2 a.m, she woke up violently ill, vomiting, trembling, weak. Connor played the role of the worried husband, helping her to the bathroom, holding her hand. But he wasn't worried. He was watching. He knew exactly what was happening because he had caused it. By morning, Betty texted her friends. "I've been sick since 2 a.m, she wrote. She thought it was the smoothie from days ago. She never suspected the man lying next to her. Connor drove her to the hospital, the same hospital where she worked. Doctors thought it was severe food poisoning. They had no reason to suspect otherwise, and Connor made sure it stayed that way. Using his position as a Mayo Clinic resident, he accessed Betty's medical records repeatedly. He told the staff she might have a rare immune condition, HLH, to divert their focus. He spoke calmly, confidently, and no one questioned him. But as Betty's body shut down, Connor stayed by her bedside, watching her organs fail one by one. The poison was doing exactly what he had planned. The final hours. As Betty's body weakened, her spirit held on. Even in pain, she kept smiling at nurses, apologizing for being difficult. She had no idea her husband was watching her die, one heartbeat at a time. Connor stood beside her hospital bed, holding her hand for appearances. He looked like the grieving husband everyone admired, but every time she closed her eyes, his stare went blank, cold, detached. He wasn't mourning, he was calculating. Doctors were confused. Every test came back normal. Her organs were failing, but there was no infection, no clear cause. They searched for an explanation. Connor already had one. The poison was working perfectly. When one nurse suggested transferring Betty to intensive care, Connor intervened. He said she didn't need it. He insisted it was an autoimmune reaction. His confidence silenced everyone around him. By the second night, Betty could barely speak. Her heart was failing. She whispered to Connor that she loved him. He leaned in close and told her to rest. Within hours, her pulse faded. August 20th, 2023. Betty Bowman was pronounced dead. She was 42 years old. To everyone else, it looked like a sudden, mysterious illness. To Connor, it was success, but he didn't cry. He didn't stay to grieve. The moment Betty's body was taken away, Connor opened his phone. He checked Bumble. He messaged one of the women he'd been talking to. 2 hours after his wife's death, he was flirting again. In the following days, his mask began to slip. When friends reached out to express sympathy, Connor replied with short, emotionless texts. He never mentioned love, never mentioned loss. Only logistics, funeral, paperwork, work schedule. He told one friend, "It's weird being a widower." The same word he'd searched online weeks before. For him, grief was a costume, and he was done wearing it. But Betty's family couldn't let go. Her sister, Mary, noticed inconsistencies. Connor's timeline didn't make sense. He claimed Betty was already sick before the smoothie, but her co-workers remembered her being fine. And then there were the texts, short, disconnected, emotionless. It didn't sound like Betty. Mary went to the police. At first, investigators treated it as a tragic medical death, but then they accessed Connor's computer. And what they found shattered every illusion. The digital trail detectives started with routine questions. They expected a simple case, a tragic illness, nothing more. But Connor's composure felt off. He answered too quickly, he smiled too easily. When asked about Betty's final hours, he gave medical details, not emotions. He described symptoms, not memories. It was as if he were reading a chart, not recalling his wife's death. Then investigators examined his laptop. That's where everything changed. The first thing they found was a list of recent searches. How to poison someone without getting caught. colchicine lethal dose. Can browser history be used in court? Every word was a confession written in pixels. They scrolled further. He'd visited chemical suppliers, poison forums, and obscure medical articles about cardiac failure. He'd even looked up how to clear cache and delete digital footprints. It was all there, every step of the murder saved by his own curiosity. The timestamps matched Betty's decline perfectly. Every search coincided with her symptoms. When she first got sick, he searched for how to treat colchicine overdose. He wasn't panicking. He was making sure his plan stayed undetected. Then came the purchases. Receipts showed an order for liquid colchicine placed days before her death. The delivery address, their home in Rochester. The email, Connor's Mayo Clinic account. Investigators froze. A medical professional, buying poison using his work credentials. It was arrogance beyond belief. They reached out to Mayo Clinic for verification. The package had indeed been delivered to Connor's address. He had signed for it himself, and then came the most chilling detail, his dating app messages. Police obtained records from Bumble. While Betty was dying in the hospital, Connor was chatting with another woman. He told her he was recently widowed. He sent flirty emojis. He even planned a coffee date. That same night, Betty's heart stopped. It was no longer a mystery. It was murder. Authorities confronted Connor in September 2023. When detectives entered his apartment, he didn't resist. He greeted them calmly, even politely. When asked about the poison, he denied everything, but his laptop told the truth. The evidence was overwhelming: search history, purchases, messages, and surveillance from delivery couriers. Every thread pointed back to him. He was arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated murder. The man once trusted to save lives had used his knowledge to end one. The final betrayal, news of Connor Bowman's arrest, spread fast. Headlines called him the Poison Doctor. People who once trusted him couldn't believe it. How could a man who dedicated his life to healing turn into something so cold? At Mayo Clinic, his colleagues were stunned. He had seemed brilliant, composed, maybe a little arrogant, but harmless. Now they realized that arrogance had become his weapon. During interrogation, Connor showed no emotion. He spoke like a scientist presenting data. Every question from investigators was met with calm denial. He said Betty had an autoimmune disorder. He said she'd been sick for weeks. He said he was trying to save her, but investigators had already uncovered the truth. They found multiple drafts of her death certificate on his laptop, each one listing a different cause of death. He wasn't just planning the murder, he was planning the cover story. When they showed him the order receipt for the poison, he went silent. He looked down at the table, breathing slowly, his face expressionless. For the first time, the mask cracked, not from guilt, but from realization. He knew it was over. As the case unfolded, prosecutors revealed more details. Connor had created a narrative about Betty's mysterious illness, convincing friends and family that something rare had struck her. He told her co-workers she might have autoimmune issues. He even suggested cremation just hours after her death, ensuring the poison would never be detected. But he miscalculated one thing. Betty's family refused cremation. They demanded an autopsy. Toxicology reports revealed lethal levels of colchicine in her blood. It was unmistakable. The very poison he'd researched was inside her. Connor was charged with first-degree murder and held without bail. In court, prosecutors painted him as methodical, a man who viewed his wife as an obstacle. Betty wanted a divorce. She was pulling away. And in his twisted logic, if he couldn't have her, no one would. Friends described Betty as bright, kind, and full of life. She adored animals, laughter, and the people around her. She trusted easily, maybe too easily, and that trust became her downfall. Today, Connor Bowman sits behind bars, awaiting trial. His calm demeanor hasn't changed. He still insists he's innocent. But his search history tells a different story, one typed out line by line, click by click. For more than a year, he built a fantasy of control. He believed intelligence made him untouchable. He believed he could rewrite reality. But the truth always finds its way to the surface. Betty's story isn't just about betrayal, it's about how evil can wear the face of love. It's about trust, and how the people we believe in most can sometimes be the ones who destroy us. So the next time someone smiles too perfectly, ask yourself, what are they hiding behind it? Betty Bowman spent her life helping others heal. She believed in compassion, in kindness, in the beauty of small things, like a rainbow before work or a happy dog waiting at home. But in the end, the person she trusted most used that trust as a weapon, And if not for one anonymous phone call, Betty's story might have ended quietly, erased in ashes. Sometimes justice begins with a whisper, and sometimes it's the silence that reveals the truth. I'm Nora, and this is Dark Justice. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and take care of each other.